alongside me is the gaffer, George Noble. George, great to have you with us. 10,000 games, that must feel like a huge milestone for this project.
I actually didn't realise we was anywhere near 10,000 games until obviously you said, and someone, I think Chris told me the other day, and it's I think it'll be the best part of 4 years we've been going now. So when you play thousands of games every year, I think we're up to, at the moment we're churning out 5,200 games a year. So it won't be long, I guess, before we fly past 10,000. But it's amazing where we come from to where we are now.
10,000 games here at the MODUS Super Series, but it started way long before that. It started in lockdown. Where did that all begin, the idea of playing darts from home?
Well, obviously it was born, as you said, out of lockdown. There was no tournaments going around. There was no work for anybody. So there was nothing for the players to do. So we decided, for some reason, I guess in your life, you're allowed to have one good idea. So I came up with an idea of how would we get a player, for instance, in Birmingham to play against a player, say, in London, but obviously so you could actually watch the match on one screen. Mm-hmm. Lucky enough, I had a few people I knew who was fairly good with software. So we trialled a couple of, actually, Mark Webster and Paul Nicholson was the main guinea pigs, where they sort of spent like 10, 12 hours a day behind closed doors with 2 webcams and obviously a laptop. And one of the guys come up with how they could mix the picture, dartboard and player, before they sent it down the line. And I'd sit in my house with a pair of earphones on, doing the scores. So, I mean, it wasn't that technical then, Emery, let me tell you, but and the picture quality wasn't, obviously, it was just webcams. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's a true story. I bought that many webcams and tripods on Amazon. They banned me during lockdown. I was actually banned from buying webcams and tripods, and then I had to get, my wife couldn't buy them because it's in the same name, so I was getting family members to try and buy them, and it was like, I don't know what they thought we was up to, I'm sure, but we managed to get there in the end. We was just buying any webcam we can get our hands on at the time, because I think doing lockdown, it was everyone was in this, wanted to do, be able to see and speak to people that they couldn't, but that's how it really started. There was 2 of us.
At that point, how long did you think that was going to be a project? Or do you think it was just something to see you through lockdown, for example? Well,
first of all, I thought it was just, it was just going to be something to do during lockdown and help pay the bills for everybody, myself included, but obviously, a lot of the players as well. It wasn't till we got sort of 6 to 12, well, it wasn't 6 to 12, well, I'd say 6 months in. There could be something after lockdown for content and to grow the product. And then, it was I thought, I wasn't too sure whether it would happen, but I think we took the gamble to open the studio in Southampton, and at the time I was thinking, are we doing the right thing? Obviously we was doing the right thing. It's like anything, you never know, but it's just a complete gamble, and it was an educated gamble, but people still wanted the content. But I think I'd like to think what we've done over a period of time, we've evolved and developed, and we don't stand still. And I think standing still is a really bad thing to do especially in this industry. I think we have to keep developing and evolving all the time, because someone will catch you up. So we need to come up with new ideas and push forward with them.
Let's just quickly talk about those couple of years in Southampton, because it felt like it was a crucial middle step from that transformation from home darts into a studio setup, and that kind of then laid down the foundations for what we've got here. We
was lucky enough to know a guy where the MODUS offices were in Waterlooville that owns quite a considerable amount of properties, and he owned a property in Southampton which was 2 big offices that we managed to develop into a very small playing area, and a very, very small commentary box. And I guess probably the players' practice room was the biggest room in the house. We had a kitchen, a players' practice room, a gallery that was a sort of open plan outside the studio. We was learning as we went, so it was obviously you have to invest a considerable amount of money when the operation, ramps up. But it was quite, from going from our houses, to go into there was like huge. It was a huge development for us. But we needed people who had the know-how to operate the equipment that we wanted to. So I guess that's what it was. It was tough because obviously we didn't know the people, and it was still in COVID times. So we had yellow and black lines on the floor, boxes, and we had like special regulations where they had to stand in the box when they weren't throwing, and the other one would then move to that box, and he'd come back to the right-hand side box. They weren't actually allowed to touch each other. They had separate tables for their drinks, and it was a very small room. You know, a lot of the stuff, you know, we don't have that equipment now. We've obviously gone on and on again, you know, stepped up and stepped up and stepped up. But, you know, Southampton was really instrumental for us for our development. It allowed us to move, you know, it allowed us to be successful with the business. And then, you know, we could have stayed there and just been successful. You know, I wouldn't say successful, but we could have stayed at a nice level. And still been all right, I guess. But I just think that the product needed to, you know, grow along with each step along the way. So I think it was a big move to come here, getting a bigger venue as well. I mean, the cost was immense. You know, but I believe in the product. I believe in, you know, I think, you know, we've got a great team that work on the product behind closed doors that no one gets to see. Obviously, we've got yourself as presenters, we've got Chris, we've got, you know, lots of commentators you see on TV all the time, and it's becoming ingrained in people. You know, talk about are you going to play? It's called a MODUS Super Series, but they also are you going to play MODUS? They just shorten it to MODUS, but it's actually I would call it a Super Series more than I would call it that. But yeah, I think Southampton is massively important for us. If that didn't succeed, we wouldn't be here now.
And in terms of here, the impact that this building has had on the product and the impact it's had on darts in general, it's a building that's only been open for a couple of years, but it's seen a lot of historic moments. Luke Littler winning his first title in front of the cameras, or big time in front of the cameras here. Fallon Sherritt became the first female player to hit a televised 9-darter here. This place has got a lot of memories and I suppose a big impact on the sport already.
Yeah, I think you know, obviously what Luke done's fantastic. You know, for you know, what he's gone on to do is amazing. For his, you know, he's massively talented. But you know, for his age, I've never seen a player like it. Michael van Gerwen, when he come along, was a similar ilk to Luke Littler. But I think, you know, Luke's been absolutely outstanding since he come here. And you know, if you speak to Luke, you say like winning the 2 tournaments here back to back, give him a lot of confidence. I'm not one for 1 minute saying he wouldn't have gone on to do it without playing here, because he may well have done. And as you said, Fallon being the first female to hit a 9-dart finish live on television, which is great for us as well, you know. And I think what we aspire to be is the step before players turn professional. So it works both ways. You've got players that are on the professional circuit that come off, and they still want to play, and they've still got a lot to offer, and some of them are big names. So you know, it's great that some of them want to play, but you get a lot of youngster players, and I think the tie-up with the ADC, like last week's winner, Marvin van Velzen, when he first played Marvin, he was like a cat in the headlights, you know, Marvin, and he looked awkward, and he didn't show his full potential and his ability, but he's gone away and he's played more ADC, and he's come back, and what he done last week was remarkable in a short space of time from where he come from to where he is now. So I think it's great because it gives you can play on the stage, you can play in front of the cameras. It's not Alexandra Palace, obviously. That's, you know, there's thousands of people there. But this, you know, on a Saturday night when you've got a live audience and you're on the stage and you've got a live broadcast, it's a massive, you know, you couldn't buy that experience. To actually come to play here, I mean, I have played many, many moons ago, and when you walked up 3 steps to play like county matches and things like that, you got nervous. So it's a great breeding ground. How many people have played here, Emery, and gone on to be tour card holders and do great things in the game, you know, and it's great for us as well, you know.
And just finally, to the future, what would you like it to hold, and how do you see this place evolving as time moves along?
Well, I mean, I'd like to think we'll outgrow this place at some point. It's a possibility, but I'm not sure I could put up with the headache of relocating everything again. It took, you know, I virtually lived here for the best part of 8 months. I think the future's bright. I think there's a lot of interest in it. in MODUS Super Series from all our partners, from our bookmaking partners, from potential broadcast partners and sponsors. Everyone seems to be happy with the product, and the product is still growing. I think it's still, if I was to put a percentage on it, I'd say we're probably about 75% where I'd like it to be. So it's good, but it's like your teachers say, work in progress, must do better. So I think it's good. I think we can do more.